Let's do it.
Very excited, actually. You can see my face just blowing up.
I'm happy to
Hopefully,
be here. Thank you.
hopefully I'll keep it together till the end. All right. So, for those that don't know you and what you do, could you give us a little bit of an introduction?
Oh yeah, sure. My name is Ibrahim Ajallo. Everyone calls me Rahim. I'm originally from Guinea in West Africa, and I'm currently residing in New York City. And I'm the co-founder of GinjanBros. We develop and commercialize traditional African products.
All right, all right. So traditional African products. I know of the beverage. Is there anything else that is going along with
So,
that?
sure. So we started out in the food space. We started with beverages. We started specifically with one beverage, which is a ginger-based drink called Ginjan. It's made with fresh ginger, cold-pressed pineapples, fresh lemons, vanilla, anise, and cane sugar. It's all organic. It's never heated, and it's a very popular drink all over West Africa. It's very good for you. It's good for gut health. Good for your stomach. It's a powerful anti-inflammatory. And people swear by this in my part of the world. So we started with that, not simply because we wanted to focus the brand. We wanted to focus on one product, build the brand out, and add on other products as we go. So down the line, there'll be a lot of other beverages, possibly other food products, snacks, and things like that. The one thing that they will all have in common is that they'll all be inspired from traditional African products that are consumed widely all over the continent historically, and even now. But we don't really have any big food brands on the continent that does them justice, if you will. So
Yeah.
we hope to change that.
Usually, right, when you hear stories of entrepreneurs or people who are doing business, they're like, when I was 3, I was selling things, I was killing it, I was making thousands of dollars at age 2, right?
Yeah.
I've always had it in my blood. What's your story? Have you always been,
Well, I grew up in I wasn't. I didn't have a paper route like you'd hear about, or kids or a lemonade stand about kids. You often hear that about American entrepreneurs and things like that. But I think in many ways, a lot of African kids, most African kids, grew up as entrepreneurs in ways that they don't even realize. And essentially, in my when I said that, my definition of an entrepreneur is not so much that they sell something to make money, right? Entrepreneurs are people that solve problems. That's the way I look at an entrepreneur. So, growing up in West Africa, we grew up making our own toys, scavenging and finding plastic bags and rags to bunch together and tie them with a rope to make a soccer ball. That's a really good soccer ball, right?
Yeah.
And most African kids did, on the time we grew up. We made our own toys. We made our own cars. We find metal wires and things like that, and put a car together, with the chassis, with the tires, we will find some batteries and wire up headlights, things like that. So we're always finding ways, and this was every day of the week. When you're not in school, this is what you're doing, or during summer break, that's all you do. So you go about your life constantly finding ways to fix your own problems. So I think that's the best kind of preparation you can have as an entrepreneur. This ability to realize that you have it in you. If you don't have something, you can go find it. You can fix it. You can solve it. If something breaks down, you don't just throw it down.
You have to find a way.
You don't have to. You have to fix it. Yeah. If your car breaks down, in most parts of Africa, your car is extremely, in most parts of the world, but especially in poorer parts of the world, your car or your bike breaks down, this is a very, very expensive investment. So you have to find a way to fix it. So I think in that sense, yeah, when I was a kid. But if you move further on, and my mom dropped out of school when she was a kid to get into entrepreneurship so she can raise her brothers. So I grew up around that. I grew up around entrepreneurs. I had, a family members, my uncle, my aunts, and they're all entrepreneurs. So I've kind of always been around that. And I never thought of it as
entrepreneurship.
I thought that's what everyone. I thought that's what everyone did. Every family in the world,
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's more or less the foundation of it all.
All right. So you grew up in West Africa. Right now, you're currently living in the United States. So how did you get there, and what did you? You went to school, obviously. So, how was that? How has school factored into what you're doing now? What did you study? Has it been useful to you? Does it really help?
Yes, I think people that tell you that school is not really all that important or school is overrated are really leading people astray. And typically, the people you hear say that are people that are educated. You
Very
don't
good
fully
educated
appreciate
and
how much.
yeah.
Exactly. They don't really understand. No matter how little school, they don't really appreciate how much school has given them because they have it, right? They don't know what it's like to be 30 years old and you can't read, right? Or to be at that age and you can go and just, if you have a question, especially nowadays in the internet, and knowing what to search for and find the answers to your own questions. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have to go to school to make money. The two are completely different, right? You can make a lot of money without ever going to school.
That's true.
But I guarantee you, everyone you talk to that's wealthy, that's not educated, they will tell you they wish they were educated. You know what I mean? And that tells you a lot. And this is especially true in Africa because the richest people in Africa are usually the merchants, the people that didn't go to school.
That's true.
But they're the ones that are most adamant about their kids going to school because they know the disadvantage.
They know the value.
They know they'd be much more. Yeah, they know they'd be much more successful if they did have a framework to work off of. If they could read a contract and understand it. If they could, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my education, I went to engineering school. I've been very lucky to have a very good education my whole life from the time I was in Africa all the way to here. And not an expensive one, but a very good one. I mean, my primary and school and kindergarten and primary school was in a tin shack. Like it's literally, like a tattered roof. If it rained, it would splash into the room, and it was 3 grades in one room. So it's not like I went to fancy private schools early on. But eventually, I did to go to better schools. But the first few years were the most foundational years of my academic career. I went to engineering school in college. At Michigan State University, and I went for my undergrad, and I was lucky enough to get a fellowship to go to my graduate studies in Europe, in Germany and France. So, yeah, and I think for me, I think an engineering or scientific education is the absolute best education I could have had to prepare me for being a first-time entrepreneur. And I highlight the first-time entrepreneur piece because essentially what you're doing is, okay, you're starting with this is what I want to accomplish, right? You started with the end goal in mind. And you have to be able to break that down into and work backwards all the way to, okay, This is how much I have. How can I start? And how do I get from point A to point B, knowing what I know and having with the limited resources I have? And, engineering really prepares you to know how to do that, how to break down problems, how to, if you look at a Boeing, a car even, or like a space rocket or anything, a massive highway system or an underground tunnel or whatever, it seems daunting, right? But as an engineer, you can, you design the screw that holds the wings together in that airplane. Someone else designs just the one panel, and someone designs writes the software for one piece of the software for navigating it, and so on and so forth. So when you break it down into those little tiny components, like 1,000 of them, 100,000 of them, or 200,000 of them, it becomes manageable, right? And then you bring it all together, and you have this, work of wonder, like, oh my God, how do people do this? These people,
Yeah.
So it demystifies the world, So, long story short, I think education is extremely important, and it's not only just for the academic knowledge, but also you develop a lot as a human being in school. It's a very interesting social experiment. In university, you meet it with people that are not like you, different from you. You see the way they think. It prepares you for the quote-unquote real world when you get out there, especially in business. So, stay in school, kids.
So I want to ask you this, right? Because talking to you, even the call we had before, I realized that you do have this drive and this desire to accomplish and do certain, really big things, right? So I want to ask, where does that come from for you to, even have started this company and say, I'm going to build something great, right? Where did that come from? For a lot of people, I mean, you can just sit around all day not knowing what to do with your life, right? So essentially what I'm asking, what drives you?
So, what drives me is not a desire to be big, right? Or the desire to be, super wealthy or anything like that. What I think the world is a very unfair place, right? And I feel that I've been extremely lucky to gain, the education that I've gotten, to get a chance to, leave West Africa when I did, to come here and get exposed to what Africa could be, for example, right? And beyond that, if I'm here in the United States and I see the disparities in wealth between, Black Americans and white Americans, Latinos and white Americans, and men and women and things like that, right? I think all of those things are so fundamentally unfair, and they're so easy to fix, right?
Yeah.
I really think they are very easy to fix. That knowing, not only do I think they're easy to fix, I think a lot of them I know how to fix them. Right? Now, I'm not going to be able to fix them all. I'm not going to be able to fix even, I doubt I'll be, if I live 1,000 years, I don't think I'll be able to fix them all. But I know I can fix some of them. And so my goal is to fix enough of them for other people to look and say, hey, look what he's doing, right? We can do that too, right? People to see themselves in what I'm doing. The same way I look to history and like, hey, I don't know, such and such entrepreneur did this, such and such entrepreneur did that. These people, there was a mayor. I'll give you an example. There was a mayor in New York, way back in the days in New York, like in the early 1900s. It was a disgusting city. It's still kind of disgusting, but it changed a lot. It was a very, very, very dirty city. When I say that, I'm talking the level of, of garbage pileup that you see in a lot of the African cities today, right? And this, and people would die of cholera all the time. You hear this in Africa, people still die of cholera all the time when the rainy season, right? And that was a big problem here in New York. And this one mayor comes around and he says, all right, priority number one is to clean the city. So he gets people together, and they start at the top of the city. He reaches out, he gets some boots, some coveralls, and they clean the city. They clean the whole city, right? They get rid of all the garbage. A few years later, I think within a decade, right? Color was completely eliminated in the city, right? They never had another. It's a thing of the past now. Like no one that doesn't even cross someone's mind in the U.S. or in Europe even, right?
Yeah.
And there was nothing special about this guy, right? He just had enough, and
decided to do something.
That's not something you need special training for. Yeah, and I give you that example because that's one of the things I'm most passionate about. I think everyone's always talking about the wealth of Africa, the promise of agriculture, the promise of mining and all these complicated like high tech technologies, right? Instead of focusing on something like cleaning the damn cities.
Yeah, it's something as simple as that. Just clean. Yeah,
like just think about that. Just cleaning all these cities will make them so much more pleasant, right? And it'll save so many lives. And so I those are the types of things that motivate me, right? So that I'm dealing with juice, but right now, but in the food space. But the reason why we're doing this is to develop this to a point where we can build, things over back home and allow give people jobs, but also allow some of these farmers to have someone to sell to at an advantageous price. Not simply so they can sell it to sell people raw materials and they get exported out of the continent. And then those same people that buy from them come to Europe or come to the United States and use that as a marketing tool, claiming that they're helping, buy this thing, buy this soap or buy this lotion. It's helping some African farmer.
Yeah. If some really Photoshop pictures.
Right. If you really want to help those farmers, why don't you manufacture it there, right? So 10% of whatever we sell here will go back to help to give water to in Africa or something. Why don't you just manufacture it there, give them jobs so they can make their own water, so they can dig their own water, so they can buy their own water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are like, and these are that's just one example. But if you go a little further, like beyond just like Africa and the rest of the world, you think about the role women have in the workplace, right? Why aren't they better represented? They're equally smart. Actually, in many cases, I think they're smarter, right? Yeah. Because they, but they don't get paid equally, right? They don't get as many opportunities. They get punished for having kids because, quote unquote, that gets in the way of their work, which it doesn't. There's no proof that it does, So I think entrepreneurship, if I start a business, it allows me to fix some of that. It allows me, if it's my company, I can decide that I'm going to hire a woman or not, right? If it's my my company, I can decide that I'm going to build. It's my choice, right? So those are all the things that motivate me. It's not, naturally, I'd want to be compensated for it if I do well, right? But the money is more a consequence of fixing problems, not the goal of fixing the problems. There are a lot of easier ways to make money. There are much easier ways to make money than being an entrepreneur. But yeah, it has to be more than the money. Otherwise, you'll be miserable because it's really hard.
Wow. So I want to go back a little bit on your company, right, that you're building right now. With this podcast, we're trying to target a lot of people who are basically starting out, right, or who are also figuring it out and need somebody to look up to. So I told you I heard about you through how I built this podcast, and they said that right now you guys are making about $400,000 a year. US dollars, right? I'm not going to ask how to get to 400 yet. I want to ask, how does somebody get to 10,000, right? maybe 1,000,
Mm-hmm.
10,000. When you're starting, you have zero, right? How do you get to 10,000?
Mm-hmm.
Especially
I think you
for,
need to
like you
think.
said,
I think you need to think smaller.
uh-huh,
I think your first goal should be to convince one person to give you any amount of money for something
uh-huh,
you're making or you're doing.
uh-huh, uh-huh,
Okay, so if you're making a product, focus on making it good enough so that one person would be like, you know what, I'll give you money for that.
uh-huh,
Start there, right? Because selling the difference between selling 10,000, 100,000, and a million, right?
uh-huh.
Is there are differences between people, but if you just selling that one product or like one thing over and over and over and
Over and
over
over
again,
again,
right? You're
yeah.
selling one thing a million times,
Uh-huh,
right? Now, naturally, when it gets bigger, you start having different problems. You start having problems like, okay, how do I make a million things, right?
uh-huh,
How
uh-huh,
do I store them? How do I move them from point A to point B? How do I get the inputs to make those things? What
uh-huh,
kind of people do I need to hire? Those problems come down the road. But I think if you're starting out, the only thing you should be focused on, if you're making the product,
uh-huh,
is making the product right.
uh-huh,
And what you do with that is you talk to people.
uh-huh,
You make what you think you make what you think people want, okay?
uh-huh.
And then you ask them. You'll be very surprised. More often than not, what you think they want is not what they want,
Yeah, and on that
right?
point, I had the way they told the story on the podcast I had was very exciting. Would you share how that process was for you when you started? How did you come to put your product together?
Yeah. So this the product we started out with, Ginjan, the ginger drink.
Uh-huh,
This is something that's widely consumed all over West Africa, right? So we grew up on this. We drank it as kids. You go to school, you get your little sandwich, you get it, whatever it is, a little snack, whatever it is you have for lunch. This is
uh-huh,
what you drink with it. There are other drinks along the same line, but this is one of the main ones.
uh-huh,
Um, so naturally, when we started to make this, and back home we make it spicy. We make it very spicy, and
uh-huh,
people over there tend to like sweeter stuff, right?
uh-huh,
So
uh-huh,
naturally, when we made it, we made it. I mean, we'd lived here long enough to know that people don't like the people's palate fast changing a little bit. It's going more towards people are eating healthier stuff,
uh-huh, uh-huh,
and also it depends on where you live. If you live in New York City, and what kind who people tend to be a lot healthier, or like this they pretend to be a lot healthier. They look for healthier products. Um, and depending on who you're selling to, if you're selling to like the Latino community or the African American community, they tend to have a sweeter palate, right?
uh-huh, uh-huh,
So, but before any of that, we said, okay, let's make it. Naturally, when we make it to our liking,
uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh,
And we like it very spicy,
uh-huh,
so we like it. We made it very spicy. Uh, and what we would do is we'll make it and we'll put it in these like water jugs.
uh-huh,
We literally will make it in my brother's kitchen, and we'll take a water bottle that we used, we'll empty it, we'll wash it out, and we'll fill it with that, and we'll take it. At the time, I used to manage an event space with a bar, a restaurant, and all of that. And I would take it there,
uh-huh,
and whenever someone came around that I hit it off with, that I'm having a conversation with, and I think they'd be open to it, I'll ask them, hey, we had this new product we're trying to bring to the bar,
uh-huh,
and I'll tell them what the product is, a traditional West African drink, and so on and so forth. But we don't know if people, it's different, so we don't know if people will like it.
uh-huh,
Would you
uh-huh.
mind? Would you be open to trying it and seeing what and telling us what you think? And the reason for this is I wouldn't tell them that it's our product,
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
right? This way they'll think, okay, it's for the bar, it's for their bar. I mean, this is
uh-huh,
where they come.
uh-huh,
So they'll be very honest. So, and they'll
uh-huh,
give you feedback. They'll tell you, hey, it's too sweet, it's not sweet enough, too much
uh-huh,
lemon, I can taste the pineapple, or it's way too spicy.
uh-huh.
And you keep doing that, right? And
Did
and
you
you
ever
don't
get
take it
some
personally. You
harsh?
don't,
harsh feedback that made you feel like, wow, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this?
Oh yeah, no, no. See, that's the thing. You should never, ever take harsh feedback as being, I shouldn't be doing this. Okay, that's just someone's opinion. That's it. Right? And if you're the type of person that your ego is so fragile that if anyone disagrees with you, or if anyone tells you you're ugly or your baby is ugly, that you're gonna lose your mind, right? You do not be an entrepreneur. It's an absolutely, the world is very brutal in your face. Okay, you, no matter what you make, there'll be people that don't like it. Okay, so your job is to try to figure out, okay, does this person, the feedback they're giving me, are they being harsh just because they want to be harsh? Are they being, or is there any truth
to what they're saying,
to the words they're saying? Right? Now, some people are very bad at, giving feedback. They're very bad at delivering, right? You can tell me something very, you can tell me something very harsh, and someone else can tell me the exact same thing in a different way.
In a different way, that's
right.
True.
And have it, so you have to you can't let that stop you.
How many people did you have to test with for you to feel confident that, okay, I think we have something here, we should go ahead and start a business?
Yeah, so we didn't have a predetermined number of people, okay, that we said, okay, we're going to test 100 people or 25 people. No, we said we're going to test it until we're happy with the product. Now, it's a very, when you do something and you do it right, you just know. So we just kept testing it until we got to a point where the majority, like the vast majority of people that will drink it, they don't just go like, this is good. No, if when we started getting people, this is like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, when you start getting these out of this world, this is amazing, this is unbelievable, holy shit, what's in this? You know what I mean? When you start getting those types of reaction, that's when you know you're onto something. You wanna wow people, right? You don't want, because it's a it's an extremely competitive space out there, right? Just having an okay product is not gonna cut it. You'd be wasting your life. So yeah, I'd say, we did this for months, and on any given day we'll do 5, 10, 20 different people. So we did hundreds of people. And you could do it with a smaller set of people. The whole point is just keep testing it.
Keep testing it
until deep down, without any bias, like, this is really good. And yeah, that's kind of how we got past the product development phase.
All right. So you mentioned that you started this with your brother, right? What has it been, just the two of you, or did you have to bring one or two other people on board to start, have a team going? And if yes, then how useful was that, and how did you do that? How did you choose who you could, work on this with?
It was just the two of us for a little over 2 years.
Wow.
Recently, a few months ago, we have two other people helping us. Listen, people underestimate how much they can get done. Okay, so they sit there and think about how overwhelming it is, and they never get started. Right. So if you get up and you write if you want to be a writer and you said, okay, I have an idea for a book, you have the idea worked out, you get up and you said, okay, I'm going to just write 1 page a day every day, right? At the end of the year, you've written a 365-page book.
That's true.
I'm kind of, I'm being overboard here. No one would do that, I guess, specifically. But the whole point is, if you did that for 2 years, you will definitely have a book. You know. So, in what cripples people, like keeps people from starting a business, is thinking about how they think about the end goal and think about how overwhelming that is, and they never start. Right?
That's true.
And people overestimate the role of intelligence, and because when they think about intelligence, the people think intelligence is this thing that people are just born with, right? But it's not. It really isn't. Intelligence is something you acquire. It's something you acquire. All intelligence is just you have a lot of knowledge about a lot of things, and you have the ability to pull it. You have a library to pull from, right? So the way I explain it sometimes is, if you think about a computer, any computer, if there's no software in it at all, it's completely useless.
Yeah.
You turn it on, the screen will be blank, right? So we're all born like that. Now, at the beginning, when you're a kid, your parents or the people you're around are the ones that start writing your software for you, right? This is how you operate. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. And little by little, that computer start becoming useful, right? It knows how to pick up a cup and set it down, and it knows how to pour water in the cup without spilling it, right? It knows how to walk without falling down. It knows how to put its pants on, and so on and so forth. Now, over time, and these early stages, you have no control over that. So, which is why it's so important to have a really good foundation. If you're lucky enough to have parents that, write good software for you early on, you have a big advantage. But later on too, you can, and once you're old enough, once you know enough, you can go acquire yourself. Then now you can start to write your own software, right? When you wake up in the morning, if you decide, I'm going to pick up a book and read about electrochemistry or how to value your company, or how to manufacture a plastic cup. It's also for you to decide, okay, I'm just going to go play football outside, right? Or not that that's bad, but that's it's just for your decision. Neither is better than the other, right? Or you can just choose to just sit there and do nothing. So I think, and you can overcome falling behind early, right? If you might not have had phenomenal preparation until you're 15 or 16 or 18 or 20 or even 30, and at some point say, you know what, I'm going to go back and learn the things I didn't learn before, right? You can go back and delete the software that was there and write new one. So it's such an amazing thing in that sense. So the reason I give that analogy is to tell you that most people that start businesses, they have no idea what they're doing. No one does. Bill Gates didn't. Think about your favorite entrepreneur, the person you look at and, oh my God, this guy's a god. Right? I mean, the one I think of right now that everyone refers to is Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing inherently special about Elon Musk. You know what I mean? Nothing. Yeah. Absolutely nothing. Elon Musk is not this guy that's better than you, whoever you are, studying, or like he's smart. He's been lucky enough to have been exposed to things that allowed him to learn a lot of things early on, like to have a computer at an early stage that he can start writing, developing, to be born into the type of family that can allow him to be. Listen, just being born in America or just being or in Europe, you're already like a 90% advantage over someone else, but that doesn't guarantee you anything.
That's true.
Right? So people see him now, see what he's doing with Tesla and all of that. They don't know the 15, 20 years prior to that, what he was doing. He was learning 15, 20, 30 years. He was learning, right? He was writing the software. They were going back to that. So, and he built, and so now he's in a position where not only does he have the knowledge, he also have the resources to bring it all together. He didn't start Tesla. Tesla was an electric company that was already existing, that had already made the Roadster. He came and bought the company. You know what I mean? He started by investing in it, and he bought a lot of people know this. So when he bought the company, but he had the vision and the balls to say, I can do this. I can launch a rocket that's reusable. Right? He had the knowledge, that's theoretically that's possible. So why don't we try? Right? So that's what makes people like him special. And anybody's capable of this.
I think
it's really important.
For a special...
it's not. Nothing is, right? I tell people, if you look at Europe or America or Dubai or any of these places, people look at them are in awe of, right? Like these things didn't grow from the ground like a tree. People did that. People built that. Every rack, every screw, every last piece of it. Someone... Initially was an idea in someone's head, right? There's no way all those people are smarter than you. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So people don't know what they're doing. Like us in our business right now, we don't know what we're doing half the time. But we get up and figure it out.
Yeah, get up and figure it out.
Wow. Right, we try to fail, be like, okay, we know that doesn't work, and we go like, okay, who knows how this works? We call that person, or we email that person, or we write that person, right? Or we go, we look it up, we read about it. We go, we try it. If it fails, we come back. We say, okay, why didn't it work, right? And you go, you do it again. You keep doing it until you can no longer do it.
So basically, there is a secret or a set of rules that somebody can follow to just, that just go and get it done. You have to just try out things and learn things.
There isn't, right? So this is what part of what drives me crazy about the war, right? So you have all these, you have all these everywhere you look. There's a seminar, there's a conference, there's this and that about come learn how to do this. Come take this class in 2 weeks. You know how to do this. Right? It's all bullshit, right? It's all snakes, all salesmen. And people are such suckers. People are so gullible. People are so afraid of failing, right? They're so afraid of being made to look like, because the ego gets in the way, and people are afraid of just doing anything wrong. They're afraid of being laughed at, right? So they want to go, okay, I'm going to go take this class so that I know how to do it, right? And then they go to start doing it, they realize, shit, I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
You know? I can tell you how to ride a bike, right? I can tell you, like, this is what you do. This is how you do it, right? Until I'm blue in the face. When you go, you get on that bike, what's going to happen? You'll fall.
Exactly.
But you know how to do it. you know? So don't waste any time. Go read about, like, learn the knowledge that you need. Not so much. Read up a lot about people that have done amazing stuff. And more importantly, before you even do that, just acquire general knowledge. Just no matter what you're interested in, if it's philosophy, if it's art, if it's whatever, just learn. Be constantly learning. Right, you'll be amazed that you'll get ideas about business from reading, like about architecture from the 12th century or something like that, right? And you'll get an idea about a business that's completely unrelated. That's just the way the mind works. Just learn, and get up in the morning and get some shit done every day, right? And you'll be amazed at, like, what you end up by doing that. I know the reason why people don't like to hear things like this is it's not a recipe. I'm not telling you this is what you do to get here. I'm just telling you, just wander around. You know what I mean?
Just try stuff.
Just try stuff. Whatever you're interested in. Don't study engineering because you think engineers make money. Don't study medicine because you want to be, you want to save lives and think it's respectable. There are ways to save lives that like massive amounts of lives that a physician couldn't, right? They can only save one life at a time, right? But if you go and you clean, let's say you clean a whole city, in Africa somewhere,
You'll
you
save
probably
generations.
save thousands. You'll save generations. You'll save thousands of lives. You'll extend life expectancy for millions of people, right? So with just that one act, you can save more lives than 1,000 doctors, right? So do whatever interests you. Just keep learning and keep doing stuff, right? You'll be amazed.
You're working on Ginjan right now, right? So
right.
This is an interesting question. You can't work on 10 things at once, right? So, but I have an inkling that you have some ideas in your head, just rolling around. You're thinking, if I wasn't doing this, I'll probably do this. Or you've identified a few things. So, if you are not doing this, right, what would you do? For example, in Africa, if you could start something in Africa, what would that be? Or even if you could mention two things.
If I was in Africa, I would start a waste management company.
Waste management.
Yeah. If I was in Africa, a waste management company. And let me tell you why. Okay. I mean, the reason I gave you the example of cleaning cities is not out of the blue. It's because it's something I think it's the absolute most important thing. Any city in Africa that is not very clean, which is pretty much every sub-Saharan African country except Rwanda, maybe, right?
Yeah.
That's a problem everywhere. Okay, and here, trying to invest in all of these other things, we get right, which is clean cities, water, and power, right? Without getting just the basics right, it's like decorating your house when it's disgustingly filthy. Okay, and from the more economic side, the biggest problems in Africa are what? Lack of electricity, right? Lack of sanitation, really clean drinking water and things like that. Now, and so you have people going around investing money in like expensive solar technologies, and I'm a huge fan of solar. Like that's what I went to school for, right? So I'm not saying not to do it, right? I just don't think. I think if we order our priorities, it shouldn't, like, some of those things shouldn't be at the top. With the waste, you can recycle all the waste, right? The waste, collecting the waste, sorting the waste, creates tons of jobs, right? And we need jobs more than we need anything else. We need jobs more than we need education in Africa, right? And so you can recycle the plastic, you can recycle the paper, you can start industries to make products out of the plastics and the paper and the metals, right? All the organic waste, you can compost it. You can use it to replace synthetic fertilizers that are usually imported from other parts of the world. So all that money that normally would be spent on buying fertilizers made elsewhere, so all that foreign currency that's leaving the continent will stay on the continent, and it'll help increase food productivity, right? You can also take that same organic waste. You can and you can convert it into gas and produce electricity. So from that one starting point, you can start a plastics industry. You can start a paper industry. You can create. There's enough garbage in Africa to produce about 20% of the total energy that's consumed in Africa now. Think about that.
Wow.
Okay, all electricity in Africa. There's enough garbage, right? The leftover from the bones from the fish you just ate, the peel of the orange or the banana you just ate. There's enough stuff like that to produce about 20% of the electricity that's consumed in Africa. Now, if you were to put that in terms of people perspective, essentially, you can, just by doing that, you can produce enough electricity for an extra 200 to 300 million people.
That's huge.
You see where I'm going with this? And this is not something that requires much. It's like it's already there. It's like mining. It's more valuable than having bauxite or petroleum, because you don't have to dig it out. It's already sitting there. It's sitting there. It's making people sick. It's smelly. It's making the air, it's making the place unlivable. So you'll be fixing like five problems at once. So yeah, if I was in Africa, that's what I'd be doing.
Wow. All right. Second last question. What do you have an efficiency hack? What is there something you do or a gadget you have or something you use that makes you more efficient? Helps you
Are you
get more
talking
done.
Technologies or just systems?
Anything, something you use, maybe a technology or a system or a routine you have that makes you more efficient, helps you get more done, get more results.
Don't bite off more than you can chew. And what I mean by that is okay. Stay focused, right? So don't try to do 10 different things every day, right? Pick 2 things and say, I'm going to do this every day. So let's say, for example, like if you already started your business, or if you make 2 or 3 things, you're like, okay, I need to do this every day for this business for it to run, all right? Or if you haven't started, say, okay, this is what I need to do to get the business started. Or if in school, this is what I need to do to get good grades, right? And do like 2 or 3 items, and make sure you do them every single day, right? Every single day, rain or shine, no matter what. If you get invited to a party and that's going to get in the way of doing it, don't go to the party, right? And this is very, very hard to do. But if you're not prepared to do things like this, you're not going to succeed. It's really that simple, right?
That's the bit about
you need
sacrifice.
You need to be, there's some level of sacrifice, and you need to be consistent. You don't need to be very good. You just need to be consistent. Because if you're consistent, you will be very good. Like consistent. Think. I'll give you one last analogy on this. Like, think about, because in Africa, soccer is huge, right? Or any part of the world, right? Outside of America, soccer is huge. So I'll give this analogy, and I think most people will be able to see it. Think about the greatest players of all time. Okay, and you think and you look at it in any sport really, but if you look at it, whenever you start looking into them, Ronaldo or Pele or whatever, you'll see a picture of them when they're a little kid, right?
Yeah.
Like they usually started playing when they're really young.
When they were really young, yeah.
Now, it's not because they're young, but it's because since they're really young, they played all the time, almost every single day, right? You always hear about Ronaldo practices so many times, so many hours every day, no matter what, or and it goes on, right? It's not because, and what do you end up with? You end up with this person that is so good that for someone that's not at that level, they think it's godly almost. Like, right, this guy's unbelievable. He's lucky. They just practice every day. That's literally the only secret. Is get up and practice every day. Like literally. So if you wanna be a software developer, get up and learn a little bit about code every day. If you wanna be a writer, get up and write every day. Like if you want to be an entrepreneur, whatever it is that you're doing, if you want to be, if it's a service, if it's a product, get up and work on it every day. Some days you will fail. Sometimes you'll go a week where you're not having a bad week. You don't want to do it. But the point being is, like, make that the thing that you consistently come back to. I sometimes I have 2 weeks, 3 weeks where I'm really unproductive. But I don't go and go, oh man, don't beat yourself up. You will fail. You will fail at being consistent, but just come back. Keep at it. Keep at it. Keep at it. Really, like, that is the most important thing. Keep learning, keep doing. That's it.
Wow. That's great. So again, back to Ginjan. For Those that are going to be listening and can get their hands on it, how does somebody get their hands on Ginjan?
Well, if you're in the United States or Canada, you can actually order from you can go to our website and we'll ship it to you. It's the website is drinkginjan.com. That's DRINKGINJAN.com. But down the line, our goal is to have this in every corner of the planet. So if you don't live in the US or Canada, so that's a very, very small percentage of the overall world population, we'll be coming to you soon enough. So
we're having
go to the website.
We're having World Cup. Why aren't you guys here?
It's funny because my brother and I were talking about that recently. He was like, "Yo, dude, we should make a shit of the Ginjan and go to the World Cup."
I mean,
but no, we have our hands full right now. But no, we really do plan on being everywhere. So hopefully we'll be able to start manufacturing this in Africa and shipping it all away in every corner of the planet.
Wow. So somebody can order from the website, and do you have it in some stores, some big box stores?
Yeah. So in the New York City area, we have it in about 100 locations, including Whole Foods, King supermarkets in New Jersey, and a lot of natural food markets. But in terms of physical stores, right now we're just in the New York City and surrounding areas. But we'll be expanding it nationwide in the U.S. in due time and beyond.
Wow, that's cool. Is there a plan for a brick and mortar, with a whole line of Ginjan products in the near future as well?
There is.
Wow.
There's
how did I guess that?
There are plans for a Ginjan cafe, for an immersive African cafe, like African inspired cafe with the decor and everything. So that have you seen Black Panther?
Yeah.
So right. So
yeah.
think about a coffee shop that would be located in Wakanda, right? Like what that would look like. Okay. So that's that's in the plans.
Wow.
Picked on products, Ginjan, not just Ginjan, like coffees from all over Africa that are roasted in Africa, packaged in Africa, right? Not just buying the beans and bringing them here. Chocolate that's made there, cocoa in Ivory Coast and Ghana that's processed there, turned into chocolate balls, packaged there, creating jobs there, so that we don't have to sell it and send some of the profits to help dig wells, right? So that people will have jobs and money so that they can fix their own problems, right? And we'll do that. We'll travel all over the continent, get people that are growing amazing products, helping them establish, set up the production facilities to help them package it, and so we'll brand it and bring it and sell it in our cafes. Wow. So that's the plan.
Wow, that's good. So before we sign off, last question. If you had a billboard, I usually say last question 10 times, but this is the last. If you had a billboard, right? If you had a huge billboard and you could write anything you wanted on it, what would you write? Or if you have, somebody write something for you, what would you put on that billboard?
Be nice. I'm serious. Be nice, or be kind, or something like that. Because at the end of the day, man, listen. Why are we doing all this, right? If you build a business and you make a lot of money, but you have to hurt a lot of people to get there. What's the whole point? What's the whole point of it, right? And at the end of the day, everyone, no matter where they're from, what culture, what language, when you're nice to them, they recognize it, and everyone responds well to that. So you'll get much further in business, in life, I think, by being nice to people than by not. So be nice.
Wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This was really awesome.
Thanks, Daniel.